What is up, NFL fans? It is your boy, Kevin Phillip Fox, coming at you live from Lavender Studios in Los Angeles, California, here to bring you the Legit Football NFL podcast. I know you missed us worse than we missed you, but we're so happy to be back. And for the 62 joining us in the first minute, send this to your friends. Titan Maximum already in the chat, lighting it on fire. Titan Maximum, it wasn't the season that you hoped it could be, and I apologize for that. We will get to your comment in just a second, but before we do that, I have some housekeeping things to get to. First and foremost, I can't do this show alone. I live in the land up over, so let's bring in the opposite of that. Let's bring in the guy from the land down under, Mr. Adrian Revito, with his royalty-free Imagine Dragons type beat.
Hi. Well, good morning from me.
Yeah, good afternoon in America.
I just realized, is that why the studio is purple?
Yes. Kid Lavender.
Absolutely love it. And Happy New Year. I mean,
Happy
it's been
New
a
Year.
minute.
Yeah, for you, you're damn near almost to 2026, but Happy New Year to me.
Absolutely.
Australian time, man. I can't get on board with it, man. It's too different.
Yeah. And look, it's Saturday morning for me here. Today is looking at another over 100 degrees, your degrees day.
Jeez.
It's delightful.
No wonder you brought the guns out. I was wondering about that.
Headed straight to the beach after this.
It's freezing here. It's the opposite here. I live in LA and I'm shivering.
Yeah, I have my moments when it's winter because I hate winter, right? That's why I talk about the weather a lot.
I also hate it.
And you guys are in singlets, and I'm like,
oh, the worst.
Anyway,
you have no idea. Anyways, Neil, some Crowded House love from the land of Tim and Neil Finn. Yeah, love Crowded House.
Glad you know who they are, because I do not.
Don't dream it's over. Titan Maximum, the final week, and the Titans are fighting for the top spot. I just need the Patriots to knock off the Bills with their starters resting, maybe so. And that's going to be a recurring theme, unfortunately, for our Week 18 preview, Adrian. There's not going to be a lot of juicy, sink your teeth into a matchups. This damn near whole slate could be dynamite games, but we're here for the people. And you know what? This is as important for us, Adrian, as it is for the NFL players, because this is us getting our reps in. You know what I mean? Our Week 18 reps are important. We can't throw off our routine because we have playoff previews to get to. We have award season predictions and debates to get to. We can't be sitting our starters. It's Week 18, so we let Hemi get the week off. We let Ant get the week off. But you and me, we need to go through our reps because nothing simulates playoffs like live game reps, baby.
Takeda coming out. I mean, what Takeda? Remind me, or do you remember who Takeda's team is?
I think he's a Raiders fan.
Yeah, I just don't know if you can poke fun.
Takeda Luna, he brought the guns out because Jordan Love couldn't. I'm guessing he meant to say beat the Vikings last week.
Couldn't have could not have brought the guns out versus the Vikings.
Oh, just missing. Oh, there is an apostrophe there. I didn't see the apostrophe.
Couldn't versus the Vikings. That's what it is. It's instead of V, it's VS.
I see.
Either way, the Raiders suck. No, I'm joking.
Guys. Quick check-in for the sake of our degeneracy. As you all know, I was in 13 season-long fantasy football leagues. Made the playoffs in 11. Made the championship in 7. And I went 0 for 7 in championships. I don't have a ring. I still have a Week 18 2-week pending on ESPN, so I might be able to hoist the Cousin League trophy, which can't knock the Cousin League. They all count the same.
No,
but
you're right.
Legit or Demons League or my home Dino couldn't bring it home, man. And actually Anthony took home 2 championships in the leagues that I'm in with him. So he wanted to come on the show today, but I banned him. No, I'm just kidding. We shot an hour earlier, and I don't think he knew.
Yeah,
homie's gonna show up at 2:30. Like, where the hell is everybody?
Hang on for the second part of the Legit Football Show after this one from 2:30.
Just gonna be Anthony.
Yeah.
This is solo Anthony.
I've informed him to bring a kazoo and just play as he talks. Yeah, look, it'll be fun.
I think that would be nice. I think, he's a champion, so he can do what he wants. Takeda Luna says that he's entering the fan transfer portal, the fansfer portal, if you will. And he's coming straight over to Buffalo. We'll welcome you with open arms, brother. And we really have our two of our heaviest hitters right now in the chat. Titan Maximum says the Raiders are in the same boat as I think he meant to say the Titans. No QB. Yeah, he meant to say the Titans. Without further ado, Aid, we have a quick question to open up the show, and it's kind of vague. And I think we'll have a nice discussion. I don't think it'll be too spirited. I'm not planning on getting spirited. I feel how I feel about it, and hopefully the chat will weigh in. We have two of our almost 300 viewers commenting. Let's get that number up, guys. Come on, I need everybody to comment. Here's the conversation. Here's the question, and I'll let you open it up, Adrian. I'll let you wax poetic if you want. And I'm really looking for some weigh in here from the chat. So don't hesitate. Who's your MVP?
So, all right. Yeah, Armand does need a QB as well. This is one of those ones, and as it is when it kind of gets this time of year, there's a consensus. And for the most part this year, no one has been able to determine between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and I kind of believe rightfully so. To me, I think Josh Allen takes it because Josh Allen doesn't have Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson has been fantastic, right? And he has been awesome. But the thing about having someone like Derrick Henry and being Lamar Jackson is every defense you go against cannot. Like it's so hard to scheme against you because you've got to whether Derrick Henry's running the ball or not, you've got to have the threat of that run. Whether Lamar Jackson's running the ball or not, you've got the threat of that run. So you can't have that extra man in coverage, and then he can pass the ball. So he's set up in such a great scheme and with such good pieces around him that I'm not saying like I'm not obviously that doesn't factor in 100%. Your stats are your stats, and what you've done is what you've done. But to me, Josh Allen has done more with less, and he obviously has that same threat to run, threat to throw. I just think there's been games where Josh Allen has just put them on his back, and the Chiefs comes to mind immediately with that fourth down run right at the end of the game. He was just like on another level. So to me, this is Josh Allen's. Yeah, he's never won it, correct?
Never won it.
Uh, and and I can understand the cries for Joe Burrow. I get that, but unfortunately, the wins are a quarterback stat. Everyone says it, and everyone knows it. And if they get into the playoffs, and I sincerely hope they do, maybe they throw him a chance. But I think this is Josh Allen's to lose.
Yeah, for sure. And you said wins aren't a quarterback stat, right?
I think
Oh,
wins are.
I would debate that all day. We could do a damn near episode, an hour-long episode on that because I don't think
I
they
feel
are.
like Josh Allen. I feel like Josh Allen is the living proof that that is a correct statement.
I think a quarterback can determine whether or not a team wins, but they can't determine whether or not a team loses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that, but that's my point. I
And I
suppose is
think Burrow is the antithesis of Josh Allen in that case, where they're both doing everything they can, and it's enough for one and it's not enough for the other. And I don't think that has anything to do with Burrow, unfortunately, this year.
antithesis. Good word.
You like that? Thank you. As much
Yeah.
as I word of the day, word of the day. As much as I love to see the Bengals getting some guff, um, I don't think it's deserved. I think Burrow's done everything he can and more, and the amount of times that it's very reminiscent of Josh Allen in playoff elimination games where he'll leave the field with a lead, and then his defense will squander it, and then he'll come back. It happened twice to Josh Allen in 2021 in the famous 13 seconds divisional round. I will weigh in on the MVP debate here. You really can't, in good faith, say anything bad about Lamar Jackson. He's an incredible, incredible quarterback. I've been banging the top 5 drum for years. I remember 2 years ago it was controversial to put him in the top 5 quarterbacks. Like I couldn't believe my
I
ears.
was on that boat.
Couldn't believe my ears that I was getting pushback from that. I feel as though statistically speaking, he's playing out of his mind, and it's beautiful to watch. And he's really blossoming as if he could even get better as a passer. He's getting better as a passer. And he's as good of a runner as he's ever been. So it's pretty remarkable what we're seeing from Lamar Jackson. And I do think that needs to be said. And if there was somehow going to ever be a quarterback who won Offensive Player of the Year, I think this year Lamar Jackson would be that for me. Although Jamar Chase contending for the Triple Crown and Saquon Barkley a game shy of the single season rushing record, Lamar really doesn't have much of a shot at the OPOY, and I think that's fair. The Josh Allen case for MVP. If I was a voter, obviously we all know Bills Mafia. I slit my wrists and blue and red come out. I don't really. For me, it's difficult because apart from stats, I don't think there's a conversation. I guess Lamar has more total yards and more total touchdowns and fewer interceptions, but the MVP isn't an award for best stats. It's not an award that's given on paper. And I think MVP is 4th and 3 against the 1 seed undefeated Kansas City Chiefs and taking on 7 tacklers and not going down. MVP is scoring, being the first quarterback in NFL history to score 3 passing touchdowns and 3 running touchdowns in the same game, all while putting up 400 all-purpose yards and 0 turnovers on the road against a playoff team. MVP is beating the 1 seed in both conferences with a combined 8 touchdowns across the 2 games. MVP is not missing a single game, playing through a broken hand, playing through a shoulder strain, playing through you name it, this, that, and the third. Like, and I've seen it for years where Josh Allen had more total touchdowns, more total yards, more picks. Always, it's just it is what it is. Arm punts, right? Um, more total everything, but the other guy had more wins. The other guy had a cleaner, turnover log. The other guy had X, Y, and Z. I think it's a narrative award. I think it's a human award. It's not a robot award, and I think it's an open and shut case that there isn't a player in the NFL who's more valuable. And Adrian, you talked about it a little bit, but I'll just hammer the point home. Lamar Jackson's wide receiver 1, RB 1, tight end 1, left guard, left tackle, and center were all in the Pro Bowl. Josh Allen's left tackle was, and that is it. Open and shut.
That's what I'm saying. I think when you because I really do love what Lamar has done this season, and I was a hater. In fact, I might have entered this season a hater. I'd have to go back and look at our old pods. But Josh Allen, and I say this, and if you're new to the show, I said this a couple weeks ago, he's the Panama Canal baby. As he raises, the whole team goes up with him, and he's taking what people looked as like they might miss. And actually, I'm not going to say people. That's pretending I wasn't on this boat. They might miss the playoffs because they haven't got.
You didn't think they were going to miss the playoffs. You hedged, but you believed.
I can't in good faith pretend that I was a believer that Bills were going to do what they've done this year, and that is all Josh Allen. So I agree with you. I don't think there's much of a conversation if you really look at the tape, as I'm sure the voters do, and that's not taken away from Lamar Jackson. It's not even taken away from Saquon Barkley or what Joe Burrow has done this season. It's just that Josh Allen is playing the game better than anyone at the moment. Full stop.
It just kind of feels like he's playing the game at times like in slow motion, and it kind of feels like he's inevitable. I remember thinking that in 2020 and at times through the 21 and 23 seasons. But this is a different feeling because he doesn't have a wide receiver 1. He
Great.
James Cook doesn't have 1,000 rushing yards. I think James Cook, he doesn't. I think they're gonna
genuinely surprises me.
I think they're gonna try to funnel him carries in week 18 until he gets it. But also, yeah, you know what? And shout out to Cato, because you're talking about, is he Iron Man now? I think you're joking. Josh Allen has the longest consecutive start streak at quarterback out of anybody in the NFL by double. Second is Jared Goff. Josh Allen's in the hundreds. Jared Goff, I believe, has like 50. So maybe he is Iron Man.
Sorry to take a golf topic, but how does James Cook not have 1,000 yards but 15 rushing touchdowns?
Exactly.
Absurd.
Exactly. And people are pointing to the Josh Allen QB sneak touchdowns as a detraction from his MVP case, but his running back has 15 touchdowns, and Josh Allen still has, I think, 13 rushing touchdowns.
You just can't take that. I mean, to me, touchdowns are touchdowns, and not everyone can run a quarterback sneak the way Josh Allen runs a quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. And we call it the Buffalo snowplow. And the Bills have now set a franchise record for most points in a season in 16 games. There's a whole nother game. And they have more points than they've ever had in their team's history in a year where they lost 5 of their 7 highest paid players. Come on. Whatever, man. If Josh Allen doesn't win the MVP this year, it will be more of a travesty than Jesus Christ. I mean, DeMar Hamlin not winning comeback player of the year last year. And that was a travesty. I digress, Adrian. We have a lot to get to today.
Let's do it.
I got Allen for MVP. You got Allen for MVP. Hopefully the streets have Allen for MVP, but don't go on Twitter because it's a toxic wasteland of bad takes right now. Just
jerks.
100%. Thank you for that. Stay off Twitter. It's
real,
just
real quick from Armand, another OG coming in. Happy New Year, my man.
Armand, we're both New York guys, but you got to do me like that with the Mets, huh? And you got to do me like that with Soto, huh? That's too bad, man. I really thought we were friends, man. How about them Jets? Sorry. Anyways, what did I say? Missed the offs, and I was crazy. I was a hater. I really don't want to talk. I want all the good karma going into the playoffs. Armand, I'm hoping you guys figure it out. Truly.
Like someone that's on their deathbed and they apologize to all the gods just in case. Like that's where you're at.
That's literally me. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to take my last breath, so let me just right all my wrongs. Adrian, without further ado, did you have the headline that you wanted to tackle now?
Well, it's perfect timing. So our first game, this is your game to take, but there is a headline that in the Legit Football newsletter, and if you don't sign up for that, you absolutely should.
I love the quarterback carousel. It's my favorite part of the offseason.
It's fantastic. So just
fun.
one part of this, I'm only going to go through one part, which is Albert Breer, one of the most reliable insiders, thinks Kirk Cousins is a very viable option for the Browns. There's a belief that Cousins, once released by the Falcons, will sign the veteran minimum like Russell Wilson did last year. And Cleveland doesn't have the cap space to hand out a massive contract. So I actually think that's just a. Oh, what's that? Sorry, I missed it.
Armand says Josh Allen should win MVP unless Burrow gets the Bengals for the playoffs, and I think that's fair. Burrow damn near put the city of Cincinnati on his back, so I don't hate it.
So I actually think Kirk Cousins to the Browns makes a lot of sense for a 1-year deal and a Russell Wilson-esque deal.
Adrian,
they don't have the cap. No. I'm not saying he's going to kill it there. Before you yell at me,
no, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not.
What I'm saying is yes, absolutely. He's an aged quarterback coming off an Achilles. He's another year removed from that injury. He can't move. He can't throw. I get it. What I'm saying is you're going to have to take your medicine for Deshaun Watson, and you cannot roll Deshaun Watson out again. That team is like crying. Myles Garrett wants out, who's far and beyond your best player. You need to give them something to say. Here's our plan. We've got Kirk Cousins, and we're paying him absolute peanuts, a la Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And we're building for next year. Maybe you take a rookie. In fact, definitely take a rookie. Have Kirk Cousins there so you don't have to rush him out in a team that is a little bit depleted. They need a new running back. Like, get your pieces around you while you can't afford it. Take this, discount dollar store Kirk Cousins and get through this year. And that's your plan. You're planning for next year. And that to me is the way you do this. Because then next year, you've got a rookie quarterback that's got some experience. You've got 2-time head coach of the year. Has he won it twice? Either way, fantastic head coaching. And you start to bring pieces in around him.
Yeah. And here's the thing, man. And Armand is asking a question, and I wanted to ask it as well. Who would start, Watson or Cousins? Watson, and Browns just restructured his deal. The more Cleveland kicks the Watson can down the road, the less faith I have in them as an organization, because we've seen for years. I remember when I went to Europe 2 years ago, and I was in my girlfriend's aunt's attic, and I was like, Deshaun Watson's done. And that was then. It's been 2 years. Adrian, he sucks. He's terrible. He's a bad guy. Get him out of there, dude. What are we doing? Look at what the Broncos are doing with the Russell Wilson dead cap. Look at what the Bills are doing with the Diggs dead cap. Sometimes you got to get the wart removed. You got to get the surgery. The sooner you rip the Band-Aid off, the sooner you'll heal. It's going to be a scar for a while. It might be a scar forever. It's going to look bad, but you have to do it. You can't keep kicking can down the road. Look at New Orleans. Look at Spencer Rattler. I'm sorry.
But you know what? This is my point. You illustrated my point because Armand asked, who would you start, Watson or Cousins? Now, to me, Watson is such a toxic force in that building at the moment that everyone around him is playing down. He's dragging everyone down. And Kirk Cousins, I'm not saying he won't do the same, but to me, Kirk Cousins says the organization owns its mistake, which owns is a very strong word for someone that's kept Deshaun Watson here this long. But you're owning your mistake and you're planning for the future. And that's, if I was playing on that team, that if I was Myles Garrett, that's what I want to see. And that's what he said. Myles Garrett said he wants to know there's a plan to get back to being a winning team. And that plan should not involve Deshaun Watson. Take your freaking medicine. Take the dead cap.
He just has to be
And
cut. He just has to be released. There's nothing you can
100%.
do.
And tight end
And
maximum, they can't afford Donald. There's
but
absolutely
every
no way.
time they make a decision, Adrian, to restructure or whatever, they are making that pill harder to swallow. And at some point, you have to decide that you're at your rock bottom and you have to start making your way back up. And the Browns are just digging deeper. And I don't hate the Kirk Cousins signing is fine. If it's peanuts and it's a Justin Fields and Russell Wilson situation, and you have two options, and you have a Ferrari package with Deshaun Watson, but it's a Ferrari without an engine, and you just wheel it out to lose 5 yards, whatever. But yeah, Cousins is fine. He was an eyesore by the end of his time in Atlanta. I don't know if he's still getting healthy or not. But Penix has just clearly revitalized that offense, and we'll talk about that when we talk about that game, the Falcons game. But in the meantime, yeah, I don't hate the Cousins to vet minimum deal. Make sure his salaries are still paid by Arthur Blank, and just keep it moving. I don't hate it at all.
Yeah. So look, that's the headline. We are. I was like, oh, we're going to be fine this show. We're 20 minutes in, we haven't really hit the first game. So I don't
Well,
know
it's
if you got
okay
much.
because there's gonna be 10 games that we talk about for 30 seconds. So
Right.
let's catch up on the comments really quick. Hot take: Colts sign Cousins and go away from Richardson. It would be on brand. Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Philip Rivers. They do geriatric reclamation projects every so couple years. So R.I.P. Hemi Ray and his fandom.
Love.
And the Darnold conversation is going to be fun. I don't think you let him out of your building, seeing what he's done this
I agree.
season. So we'll see. That's going to be a really interesting. Yeah, I'd probably just trade JJ to a QB needy team.
Can I say to that point, right, is one thing that I absolutely I feel like this is the hallmark of a bad bad I can't even talk, bad organization.
Yeah.
They make a decision, the situation changes, but they're so committed to, oh, we've made this decision, we drafted JJ, we have to go that way. And it's like, dude, you've got a guy that's got you ready for the one seed when everyone counted you out. What are you doing?
Sunk cost fallacy.
Oh, it's
Absolutely.
crazy.
You can't
Like,
pay
and you
attention to
and
what
you
you spent on it. If the variables change, you got to pivot.
send JJ out, you probably, I would say, even though he's injured, I still think you could get a
At
second
least
because
I
people
was
haven't
going to say
seen
at
him.
least a second, maybe a
Yeah.
first. Who knows?
A late first you could probably get.
He was putting some good stuff up on tape, man, before he went down. So,
I
um,
hear.
anyways, we do have a game to talk about here, and it's being played tomorrow. We love Saturday football, do we? Question mark. I don't know. I've been a little iffy on it. I'm a
I
little
do.
sensory overload with football. I like I thought you could never have too much, but this year I'm questioning it. Um, Cleveland taking on the Ravens, and I believe the line since you made this document has moved up to 20. Ravens are 20-point home favorites, and the Ravens need to win to lock up the 3 seed and the North. So they're not going to play any games in this game. They will be full throttle trying to destroy the Browns. The Browns are starting quarterback Bailey Zappi, formerly of Tom Brady's succession. Pretty hilarious career trajectory there. Oh no, that was Jarrett Stidham. Bailey Zappi was just a
No, he was
just a guy.
it was Mac Jones backup until he got a start, and then
That's right. And actually think Zappi has a little bit of juice, if I'm being honest with you. I think he's better than DTR. Ravens are gonna run away with this. Lamar's probably gonna look to put an exclamation mark on his MVP case, and knowing the way that Buffalo Bills luck goes, Lamar will probably have 6 touchdowns, and he probably will steal enough votes to win the MVP based on this game. But it's gonna be ugly. I still think Cleveland covers because 20 points is the dumbest spread I've ever seen in NFL history. Give me Baltimore in this one, 30-13.
yeah. See, I don't think Cleveland covers. Sorry, you mean 30-13, so that is a cover on 20. I don't think Cleveland covers. I think they have in the past, and I can't remember the exact number, like 13 drives. Admittedly, with DTR, they've put up 3 points. So I think you're right. The Ravens are coming out. They're not going to play any games. They're going to get a very strong early lead. Lamar wants to put his stamp on MVP. I'm sure Derrick Henry hates that Saquon Barkley's kind of overshadowed what has been an awesome season that no one expected. So I'm going to say the Ravens come out and win this 40-6. And here's a little nugget on top: Lamar will be resting at 30-3, and then they're still going to put an extra 10 points up.
There you go. I can see it. I can see it.
All right. And then onto the other game of so your Saturday, my Sunday. That's why I love it because Sunday football means it's Monday for me, and I work on a Monday. So,
Oh, it sucks.
um, oh well, I mean, it sucks for them because I watch. So hopefully they're not watching this show.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah. So the Bengals. Okay, so they're playing here, obviously to keep the chances alive. I for one really hope that they somehow sneak in because I like good football, and obviously they're the AFC. I can understand why you, Kevin Phillip Fox, may not want that.
They'd be our opponent in round one. So no,
Yeah,
PTSD.
and I get that.
Yeah.
So look, they've come back from 4-8 to have a chance here. Now they need to win. They need Denver to lose to the Chiefs backup, and they need Miami to lose to the Jets, or either of those teams to tie. And it's a bit cruel. They're playing Saturday. They have to wait till Sunday evening to find out if they get in. But what I will say is similar to what I kind of just put on Lamar Jackson. I feel like Joe Burrow, one, I trust very few people, some, but very few people more than I do Joe Burrow and the balls, like when the game's on the line, like in the crucible, he wants the
Clutch.
ball, he wants to take it. Yeah.
He's clutch.
Um, absolutely. So I think he's gonna take a win here, even though the Steelers are no joke, and I'm sure they want to break their 3-game losing streak. Um, the defense for the Bengals sort of put a few stops up. Now they still are Swiss cheese and they're still terrible, but they put a few key stops up when they needed to last week. So I'm hoping that they can do something here. I'm wanting the Bengals to win, and even though the Steelers have Joey Porter Jr. back, I know TJ Watt is going to want to put a stamp on his DPOY campaign, which is absolutely real. But I think the Bengals are going to take this one 30-23 and keep their hopes alive.
Yeah, and I have a hard time placing Pittsburgh these days, man.
Mm,
They kind of looked like one of those classic, amazing Mike Tomlin juggernaut. Uh, you know, gonna be a threat in the playoffs. You don't want to see them in January kind of teams, but that Christmas Day game left a really icky taste in everyone's mouth. Kansas City's been making average to bad teams look amazing, and they pummeled Pittsburgh in a way that we haven't seen them pummeled all year, and it's on top of a stretch of poopy performances. They were previously threatening to be the 2 seed, and
yeah,
now they are actually kind of sort of an embarrassment every time they take the field. I don't think Russell Wilson's pixie dust ran out. I don't think it's that. I think he can still be great, but they don't have answers. And it seems like when he gets pressured, he's one of the quarterbacks who's the hardest to watch because he just eats sacks like damn Apple Jacks, bro. Homie just sits there and eats the sack all the time, and it's just hard to watch. I'm sick of it. Um, yeah, I'm gonna take Cincinnati in this one pretty comfortably. I'll say 34-27. So I'll say they cover the spread.
nice. This next game, I couldn't in good faith put it into the lightning round, but I feel like you can appreciate that this is maybe a lightning round game.
Yeah, and I'm happy to talk about it, but it's not going to be a long conversation. Josh Allen going to come out there and probably hand the ball off, and then he's going to run straight to the sidelines and put on a coat made of bubble wrap. We do not want to see our MVP get dinged up before the playoffs, but he wants that Iron Man streak to continue. He really cares about it. James Cook's 18 yards away from 1,000. Mac Hollins and Dawson Knox are a couple catches away from some big incentives. So look for those players to get a little more involved than the others. Look for a big Ray Davis game. Mitch Trubisky was 1 for 1 for 69 yards and a touchdown. Very nice. Last game, I really think, truthfully, respectfully, Mitch Trubisky is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen with my own two eyes. And I'm not, if he ever has to come in for Josh, it was a good season, and we'll see you next year. Respectfully. I'm looking at Drake May. I'm really hoping Drake May can continue to put together some more excellence on his rookie campaign. If you recall, Adrian, that draft pick was one of the bittersweet moments for me of the draft because I love the player. I hate the landing spot because I hate the Patriots. But seeing him be great was awesome. And if you recall, Adrian, and this is a pseudo victory lap of my offseason darling whisperer nature that I have, I said the vibes were what kept me from. Thank you.
That's good. That's you
I
laughing.
the vibes were what kept me from believing in the Patriots, and that's the only thing that haven't been good this year. Gerard Mayo seems kind of like a clown.
Yeah.
I don't like what I've seen, and if I were them, I would say, talk about sunk cost. You picked the wrong guy. Identify it now. Go out there and lose this game. Go secure yourself Travis Hunter. Don't be cute. Actually, if they lose, they can secure themselves a shot at Shador, which they obviously won't take, but they could secure themselves a haul to trade down and
Oh, yeah.
probably take Travis Hunter anyway. So we'll see what happens, but this game's a nothing burger. I'll say for window dressing's sake, the Bills win on a last minute field goal 23-20.
Yeah, I would say so. Currently, the Pats are the number one pick. Real quick, because this is such a lightning round game. Um, we you I know you more than most people went through the painfulness that was the Patriots dynasty. I
Yes.
felt that pain not because I'm an AFC player, but because my best friend is a Patriots fan, and there is
Mm,
no more annoying fan than the Pats during the dynasty. Actually, there's no more annoying fan even right now because you can talk them down and they're like, yeah, 6 rings, yeah,
so
Patriots dynasty.
stupid.
It's like, dude. Um,
Living in
although
the past, brother.
I admit Green Bay fans can be that way as well, to the north. So and now, so it's kind of like bittersweet. It's almost like diabolical. I really enjoy seeing how much of a joke they've become. And
Yeah.
I feel like what's going to happen here is the Pats are going to win this one 20-17, playing the backups. They're going to take their number one seed and send themselves back. I can't remember the exact number, but they're definitely sending themselves back a fair few spots. That is going to see Jared Mayer out the door. And I really, you know what? For an organization that was so great, they really need to. I feel like they need to at least get back to being, a plausible team because I don't want them to waste Drake May just the way I know you hate
Same.
the Patriots. Drake May is awesome.
No, I agree.
So I'll say 20-17.
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
I have.
Very early in the show, there's a scene where Tywin Lannister says to Jamie and I forget the other chick's name, Cersei,
Cersei,
and
yeah.
he says like, don't don't be distracted by wonders on the other side of the world, and he's referring to Daenerys and her dragons, which obviously we know by the last season, Daenerys and her dragons are the biggest threat.
Worst season.
I saw a meme and it perfectly encapsulates how I feel about Drake May, and it was saying to the Bills, "Don't worry about wonders on the other side of the world." And it said that it was like Cersei, and it was the dragon just hatching out of the egg, and it said Drake May and the Patriots.
I get
And I was
that.
like, "That's fire! That's a fire meme. That's a little audio meme for you there."
Love it.
Yeah,
All right,
winter is
let's roll.
coming. Winter is coming for Gerard Mayo. Thank you to Kato Luna. Comment of the day so far. We got some contenders, but that's comment of the day. Take it
Fantastic.
away, Baker boy.
All right. This has been a fantastic season for me. I love Baker. I waxed about him last week. I'm not going to talk again, but his stats are just like, and stats are stats. Watch the games. Like they have lost Chris Godwin, Mike Evans for a bunch of the game. I admit Bucky Irving is kind of exploded, but man, there is a reason Liam Cohen is going to get head coach looks, and he's in the Legit Football newsletter today as well about exploring his head coaching options next year because they're playing awesome. Baker's tied for the second most TDs of the season. He's fourth in passer rating, behind only Goff, Burrow, and Lamar. He's just grown so damn much. And man, it's weird. I know everyone loves Baker, or a lot of people love Baker. It's hardly a hot take to say I wanted to see him succeed, but I was so invested in him succeeding that I just kind of feel like weirdly proud, which is uber condescending. I'm like some random fan in Australia, but like I love Baker and I'm so happy he's succeeding. And so I feel like they're going to come out here because they can lock up their division. They can punch their ticket for the fifth straight playoff here. And they're going against the Saints team that are practically like pack their bags for the Bahamas at this point. Um, Darren
Yeah,
Rizzi, who absolutely fumbled the clock against the Packers last week. Ball got fumbled out of bounds. He didn't realize the clock continues. To be fair, neither did I, but I also don't get paid millions and millions of dollars to know
really
that.
bad, bad
Um,
stuff.
and his team couldn't be less excited in all of the post game Lockers like shots or speeches. They could not care less if they've won. I think there's not much to say here except I think Tampa Bay rolls 31-10, and Baker continues to play fantastic.
Yeah, they could punch their playoff ticket with this game, and yeah, I mean, I was even admittedly, I did not love Baker on the Browns. I thought he was kind of cocky. I thought he got all the commercials too early.
Mm.
I didn't think he earned them. And then when he kind of got his medicine, well, the Deshaun stuff really like they had handled that so poorly, and he got screwed over so bad. That was hard to watch. I became sympathetic to him, but then in Carolina, he still kind of seemed like a little bit of a dickhead. And I apologize for the family friendly viewers. Still wasn't a fan of his. And Tampa really has changed my perception of Baker Mayfield. I root for him so much now, and he's so scrappy, and he plays so hard, and he's so passionate, and it takes, he doesn't have the physical tools that Josh Allen has, but I think he's pretty close on toughness. I think he's one of the toughest quarterbacks in the league, and I think he has one of the highest competitive motors. So I love Baker Mayfield. He has made me a believer. I think Tampa's scary in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to play him in the first round if I was an
Oh
NFC
no.
team. So I'm gonna go with Tampa in this one in a routing. I'll say 38-6, and I'll predict that Mike Evans gets his 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I hope so. And I don't think you're alone on that take. I think if you look at the way the team is, I don't think the Browns a little bit more so, but absolutely not Carolina. Like the Bucks seem to love him, as in their team seems to love him.
I just feel like he got humbled a couple times, and it has
Yeah,
really matured him. I just feel like he's a well-rounded, awesome dude. My Washington Commanders, my offseason darling Washington Commanders, my playoff ticket already punched. Jaden Daniels led Washington Commanders at 3.5-point favorites, traveling to Jerry World to take on the hapless, CeeDee Lambless Dallas Cowboys in what could realistically be a dynamite game. Cooper Rush is a nice story. He's got some juice. Didn't last week, but that's because he was playing the number one defense in the NFL. Um, I think Washington runs away with this game, even though it's kind of meaningless for them. I think maybe there's still some seeding potential
yeah,
here.
there is.
So I think
That could be 6 or 7 depending on the Packers outcome.
so. I think we're gonna get some solid effort because that's the difference between playing. I forget who the 2 seed is in
Eagles.
the Eagles, or who I'm sure they don't want to play, even though they just beat them. Or playing the who was the 3.
I think it's Rams, if I'm not wrong.
And yeah, you'd probably rather play the
For sure.
probably rather play the Rams there out of those two.
Well,
Um,
Rams or Bucks or Eagles. The Eagles are the least favorite, I think, you would not take.
Yeah, so Washington will probably take this game pretty seriously. But I don't think it's going to be an interesting game. I think 3.5. Vegas is. I think that's a bait line. But I would hammer Washington minus 3.5. I'll say Washington wins this game 27 to I'll say 17.
Yeah, I'm hoping for the Cowboys to pull one out here because obviously it affects my Packers and I don't want the Packers in the 7th seed, which is now currently Washington Commanders hold the power here because if they win here, they're the 6th seed and there's nothing you can do about it even by beating the Bears. So I'm going to just wish cast here and put the Cowboys 27-20.
Yeah, easy money.
Absolutely wish casting. All right, speaking of the Packers, another game that could, it's minor playoff implications, but we couldn't make them all dynamite games this week, right? So the
Almost.
Packers, yeah, they're the 7th seed currently. They need to win this and then the Commanders lose to move to the 6th, which they absolutely need. I'm a little worried. I'm for probably the first time this season, I'm feeling a little bit paper tigery. We talked about the Vikings being paper tigers back a few weeks ago, and then I sort of looked at all the teams that the Packers have beat and all the ones they've lost to. And admittedly, their losing margins haven't been huge, but if you've watched the games, they've most have required a fourth quarter comeback to even get within respectable line. So this is scary for me. Jair Alexander's likely out for the season and might not even be back.
Tough.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple. Evan Williams is injured. Edgar and Cooper, I believe, was on light practice. So I am a little worried that the Packers are going to go one and done in the playoffs. To be really super honest, at one point I was like, no one wants to see us in the playoffs. I don't feel that way at the moment, and maybe that's because the Vikings absolutely tore us apart and really kind of shook my confidence in what is traditionally a rough road game because Minneapolis is a really good home field advantage. Um, I still say that the Packers need to put it on tape that they can beat one of these top tier teams. With that said, the Bears are not a top tier team. In fact, the Bears are on a 10-game winning streak. It's going to
Suck.
become 11. LaFleur is going to be 12-0 against them. And then they're going to, and they will be good. I really do believe this. I think if they get the right head coach, Koff, Ben Johnson, or Mike Vrabel will go and get them. And they get some O-line talent, they are going to be scary next year. And that actually worries me, but we can worry about that in the offseason. So I think
Yeah.
the Packers win this 27-24. But I don't. It's one of those ones where like the score looks closer than I think it
Yeah, I was
will
gonna
be.
say I don't think 27-24 is. I don't think that's indicative of how badly they're going to beat the Bears, and I think it's could be a get right game, Adrian. I'll be your voice of reason here. although I think your insecurities and your fears are valid, given man was Jordan Love a freaking flop in the fantasy playoffs.
Oh yeah.
He tried to sink me every week, and I kept rolling with him. I started him over Darnold in the championship. Darnold put up 35 on my bench. It cost me a couple $100. So Jordan Love and I are gonna have we have a long way to repairing our relationship. And Jahmyr Gibbs cost me 3 leagues on that last 2 minutes left. You're already winning. You don't need this game to make the playoffs. 30-yard touchdown run, and I also don't know if I'll ever forgive him either. We'll see. Jury's out. But I guess it's my own fault for not having him on my team. Anyways, Love is scaring me as well. He doesn't look like the guy we saw at times last year. The Toyota-thon, as they say, Jordan Love. Once a certain part of the season hits, he's pretty dialed in. Hasn't been lately. Meanwhile, the Bears, talk about worry. Caleb Williams is developing some horrendous habits. You want to talk about players who have been
That I agree.
absolute eyesores on the field this year. Caleb Williams is in the top 5. Oh my goodness. Watching him sprint backwards every time he gets a sliver of pressure is just true. Like, we do this a lot. That's my alarm to start the legit pod usually. We do this all the time where we are, like, jokingly say, if I was there, I could do better. Have you ever heard of throw at the blitz, Caleb? Throw at the blitz. I play Madden and I know that, bro. Don't sprint the other way 15 yards so you can lose more yards or fumble it and give the ball to the team. And what are you doing, buddy? Come on. Don't do that. It's so hard to watch. He's on my Russell Wilson most hard to watch list right now. Ever since they benched Kirk, I can't pick on Kirk anymore. But
Except that.
I do think it's going to be an absolute dog walking here, and I think you're going to be happy. And maybe it'll give the Packers some juice going into the playoffs because God, do they need it?
No, they do.
Other than Josh Jacobs, they all need it. I'm gonna give your boys a win here, 33-13, and somehow the Bears managing to score 13 points would be a miracle because they scored 3 last week against the Seahawks.
Yeah, that does make me feel better.
Worst
I do
game I've ever
agree.
seen. Worst game ever.
I made the mistake and I've just done a bit of reshuffling. So I had the Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans, which is an oversight by me. They should absolutely be lightning round.
Yeah,
so
please.
I swapped them out. And not that this is fantastic, but there are some minor implications. So let's talk some Miami.
Yeah, let's talk about it. My AFC East divisional foes here. We have the Miami Dolphins at 1 point, road favorites against Aaron Rodgers and the dumpster fire of the NFL for the year. Biggest disappointment. And for those of you that didn't see it coming, probably biggest surprise in the NFL, the New York Jets, who are
that little side shade for those.
Oh, have to 4-12. Rodgers just repeatedly has mastered the petty side eye at the receiver who clearly didn't do anything wrong, and he's just cannot be accountable for a single mistake. Because if you didn't know, he's perfect on every play. He's up there in terms of hardest to watch as well. He's on the list as well. Miami, meanwhile, are trotting out Snoop Huntley in a must-win game with playoff hopes on the line because Tua Tagovailoa has a hip injury. Color me surprised. I thought it's tough because health is real, and Tua has documented hip issues from his time at Alabama. So I don't want to take the low-hanging fruit here, but $300 million must-win game.
I do.
Whatever. We talked about it when he signed the extension. That we didn't know if that was the best decision. Meanwhile, Armand in the chat, noted Jets fan, taking the beating today just with such grace. We love you, Armand. Is rooting for Miami, as he should, because the Jets stand a lot to gain in the draft, and the Dolphins stand a lot to lose in the draft if they win, because all they need is for Denver to lose to the Chiefs backups, which they probably won't, to make the playoffs. This game is also, I mean, it has implications, but it could be a lightning round game. Yeah. I'll give the edge to Snoop Huntley and Tyreek Hill. and Jonnu Smith, who has some major incentives on the line for you betters. And I'll say the Dolphins win 23-9.
That whole demeanor is indicative of the fact that this should have been a lightning round game, and
Yeah.
was originally. Um, there was a couple oversights for me. I've just made some more
There's
moves. So
playoff implications. I don't blame you for throwing it in.
yeah, I think the Jets win this, sorry, 20-18, and I'm wish casting because I want the Bengals in. So
Stop.
I
Enough.
apologize for wanting it. No, it's
No.
in the universe. I need it out there. I need the universe to know that I want it.
If Bengals fans want some validation at that my disdain for their team is more so rooted in fear, I placed an emotional hedge bet where I
I
picked
love that.
each of the teams that need to win to put the Bengals in the playoffs. A $10 bet pays out like 150 because of how unlikely it is. So uh, if the Bengals win and the Bills have to play them in the first round, and I have to shiver me timbers for a week about whether or not uh, Josh Allen will have to face Joe Burrow in the playoffs again and in Buffalo, PTSD alert. At least I'll make money with the fear.
Yeah. I love the emotional hedge bet, and it's a tried and true principle. I love it.
Have to do it.
All right, we've got 2 games left to go before the speed round. I've moved a couple down because I just feel like, you know, and with respect to the teams, and I know some are going to go and play hard. They don't deserve the full 3 to 4 minutes per game. So this
I
game, however, does.
I tried to not be too morose, but it's hard. There's some games that are just how can I even pretend to
Yeah.
muster up, you know.
And the thing is, look, that's where most people are at week 18. You just for those teams, it's going to be fun to talk about in the offseason and what they're going to do and what their needs will be, and we can predict the coaching carousel and quarterback carousel. It's going to be
Right.
fun, but right now it is not
They're
fun.
playing on the string. They're sitting
Yeah,
ducks.
yeah, correct. All right, so let's talk. This is the bell cow of the slate. Like this is
Oh,
the best game.
100%.
In fact, this is probably the best week 18 final game I can think of in quite some time. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if you got something on the, but I can't remember another game
we
that.
did
uh,
have we did have Bills Dolphins for the AFC East last year, which was pretty fun.
But number 1 seed plus NFC North, and the crazy part is the
That's fair.
loser of
That's a really fair point,
yeah,
actually. Yeah.
and the loser of this game becomes a 5 seed with 14 wins or 13
Insane.
or 14. That is just
I think it's 14.
crazy.
I actually think it's 14.
The, yeah,
The
the Lions
Lions
are
and they
14, eh?
yeah,
They won. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, you're correct. So this is just an awesome game. It's got everything on the line. The Lions are getting Alexander Zoloni back potentially, which would be a huge upgrade for them on their D. That is just, as we've talked about their shot. But what I will say is, for Dan Campbell sort of kind of talks. It's weird. Dan Campbell does not talk in cliches, but he does, but they're real for him. So he will talk about
Yeah.
next man up, just like everyone else will talk. But I believe it with Dan Campbell, and
He
the
means it.
Lions play like it. Someone comes in, they don't care. Hey, we're playing a win in a meaningless game against the Niners, and they mean it. Like there's no, every coach you ask, oh, the plan is to win. Oh, the plan is. It's like, but he means it, and I love that. Um, and they are the first team with 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers to go over a 1K scrimmage. First NFL team ever. Their offense, as we know, is just dynamite. Their defense is full of holes at the moment, and if they start to get some pieces back, and you pray they do for the well, I don't pray, but Lions fans might pray they do for the playoffs. Um, they're in a position that they've probably never, I would say, never been in. I don't know if it's never, but I would say very long time since they've gone into the playoffs as a potential favorite or your second favorite. Not to segue from your Bills.
No.
Um, so then we look at the Vikings. Now the Vikings, I struggle here, right? Because I actually like the Lions. I hate playing them, and I hate that they're in the North. And I struggle because I love a good narrative, and I love a good
Yeah.
comeback story and an underdog. And Sam Darnold is just balling out. He steps up. He's confident in the pocket. He extends plays with his legs if he needs to. He makes smart choices for the most part. Been a couple of questionable interceptions, but he's just playing awesome, man. And he's just, from a guy who was like, he went on a podcast, might have been last year or the year, no, 2 years ago, and he said something. The quote was, "I know I'm a good quarterback. I've proved it." And it was like instant meme because what the hell have you proved, dude? You've done nothing. And now he was just kind of a laughing stock. And this talks about what, like, to me, the impact of coaching and what the Jets have done to people and have done to probably Zach Wilson. Um, is a bad organization can ruin what is a top. They don't get to a round one pick without having the talent and with having the traits. So, um, I love what Sam Darnold's done. Aaron Jones has been exactly what they've needed and nothing more and nothing less. He hasn't blown the doors off, but he's had his big games and he's kept the threat of the run alive. So this is going to be an awesome game. Eaton, I can imagine this being a huge shootout, but I do think the Vikings and their Brian Flores, blitzathon is going to stop the Lions more than the Lions are going to be able to stop the Vikings. So I actually think the Vikings take this 30-27 in an absolute nail biter. Let's throw an OT, point in there. In case I get it right. And Vikings take the 1 seed.
I love it, man, and I love your confidence, and I love what you said about Darnold. I hear Matt Harmon from Reception Perception a lot say that quarterbacks don't fail; quarterbacks are failed, and I think that's a
100%.
really fair point. And I think we see it with Darnold. I love the rehabilitation projects that happen. I love a Darnold going to San Francisco and being around some organizational stability and being the backup to a Super Bowl team. I don't think that is a mistake. I don't think that those habits are contagious. You're around what it takes to win. You learn how to win. I think it's the reason why coaching trees are so popular. Sean McDermott talks all the time about the reason I know what it takes to be a Super Bowl champion is because I went to a Super Bowl with Philly. I coached a defense in the Super Bowl with Carolina. Like that experience is not a joke. Even if you're the damn janitor, you're around it. You're in the building. And so I think that helps Darnold a lot. I think that's an underrated part of his comeback story.
Agreed.
I'm really excited to see how his playoff run goes and how Minnesota handles the quarterback carousel situation that they find themselves in. But I don't think to me, it's a no-brainer. You have your guy. You don't just get this close. You don't just sniff the 1 seed and then move on. That's just not good business. The Lions are great. Dan Campbell's great. Goff's great. Amon-Ra, Gibbs. I really hope Monty makes it back for the playoffs. I heard maybe only Super Bowl. Same with Hutch. Fingers crossed for all those guys. The Lions are so beat up on defense. It's not fair. They really would probably be runaway Super Bowl favorites if they weren't so hamstrung by injury. And I know a thing or two about that being a Buffalo Bills and New York Knicks fan. I know about untimely injuries, so I do feel for them. But it is what it is, as they say. So despite the injuries and despite the Vikings surgence, I'm confident that Detroit's going to handle business here and go into the playoffs as the number 1 seed in the NFC. Give me Lions. I'll say 33-24, and I'll say Lions maybe pull away late and maybe make a statement with this win.
I like it. All right. And I think it's time.
It is time, ladies and gentlemen. Legit football, we want to talk about football. We don't want to talk about JV preseason nonsense that's going to be going on in a lot of these games. So we have prepared a lightning round. Adrian and I get, 30 seconds?
It's 45 seconds till the lightning strike.
45 seconds, and that means next game, and we will respect the rules here. And who starts, you or me?
So it's going to be you starting. So it's 45 seconds, and then that gives us 15 seconds to wrap up and predict scores.
Perfect. Let's get it.
All right. Let me loop our sound.
Apologies if this is one of your favorite teams. We love you all, and we will be here for you in the offseason. I promise.
All right.
Every week.
And let me make sure I've got the right game because I don't want to dock them 10 seconds of a minute. All right, let's get going with the Houston Texans.
The artist formerly known as My Houston Texans are traveling to Tennessee to take on the 1-point home favorite Titans. Titans have a jumbled mess at quarterback. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. But they really don't even have one. Let's be real. Mason Rudolph is going to be a future backup, and Will Levis might not even be that good. Houston has nothing to play for. They have the 4 seed in the AFC sewn up. CJ Stroud is one of those hard to watch players this year, Adrian. He's on that list. That might be my top 5 right there. Nico Collins can only do so much. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL, but he can't. He might be Armani Cologne, and he can't cover up the stink of that team. RIP Tank Dell, RIP Stephon Diggs. Prayers for speedy recoveries to the dudes, even if I don't love them on the field. I think in this game where Titans have a lot more to play for, Tony Pollard is playing for big incentives. So even though he's not practicing, give me Tony Pollard to have a big game. Give me Titans 20-17.
I had the exact same score, so I'm just going to stick with it. 20 to
Titans
17.
20-17.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
All right. So the Falcons technically can make the playoffs here with a couple of things happening. I think the Bucks need to lose. Yes, they did lose to get in. Penix has been awesome. He kind of brought Kyle Pitts a bit back to life last week, which was nice to see. Time management killed them. And it's one of those things where it's sort of like the head coach has really failed the rookie quarterback because they let 30 seconds run off the board, had timeouts in their pocket, which was crazy. So, you want to see Raheem Morris do better. Carolina Panthers have been fun to watch. I would call this a successful season for them. And you can probably say it's time to start building around Bryce and hope that he continues to get better and takes a third year leap. Put the right pieces around him in this offense, and you hope that they make that move. Frankly, I don't want the Falcons in the playoffs. So I really don't hope. I hope they don't win this game, even though they are heavily favored. So let's say the Falcons lose 20-18.
Yeah, 8.5 seems like a big line here. I would take the Panthers plus the points. Bryce Young's been solid. Chuba's on IR. RIP, great season from him. He's a good piece. I was wrong about Chuba. I didn't think he was anything special, but he is.
Same.
And I'm in. I'm in on the Carolina hype train. Adam Thielen, 100 years old, still balling. Give me Carolina to win this one. I'll say 30. No, I'll say 24-21.
Love it. All right. Chargers Vegas. Is this me?
I believe this is me, and because you had the last one.
Yeah, I got the order wrong. That's yours.
There we go. The artist formerly known as My New York Giants, Brian Dable and Joe Shane led. Devin Singletary is just basically a corpse at this point. Traveling to Philadelphia to take on the 3-point. Tanner McKee led home Philadelphia Eagles. And yeah, the Eagles have been fun to watch all year. Saquon Barkley could have broke the single season rushing record, but they're sitting him down. Probably a smart decision. I'm not mad at it. The Giants, with the number one pick on the line, Drew Lock went out there and played like Peyton Manning. Go figure. Giants fans probably just hate themselves and the team. They need a Shedeur Sanders. They need a Cam Ward. Fingers crossed they get him. I also think, even though I love Dable and Shane, get him out of the building. Philly takes care of business here. I'll say 23-20.
I think the Giants win this 18-16 and vault themselves from where they could have been number one to potentially 8. Which is just so New York Giants. All right, the Chargers versus the moribund Raiders, and I am sorry for that, Takeda Luna. So look, this
great word, moribund.
Yeah, it is a good one. The Raiders with Max Crosby practically out the door at this point, and hopefully headed to Lambeau. Harbaugh's kind of got this team playing really well, and you're going against what is a decimated Raiders team that are not playing very well. And I don't think the Chargers have anything to play for, or I think they might, depending on other things if Pittsburgh wins Saturday, then the Chargers are locked at 6. If they don't, then they can move from 6 to 7, but they're in the playoffs no matter what. So I think Harbaugh's got this team playing, and I think they want the win, and they've sort of said as much. I think they cover this. I think they cover this in, let's say 30-13.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident. Is Herbert playing? I saw Gus is out. A-bomb. Gus and Palmer are out.
I think Herbert might play depending on the situation. Like if they're playing for a seed.
AOC might be good, might be a great backup, but I think Chargers are winning this game. I'll say 24-16.
Fantastic. All right. I am all over the shop here, but it's okay. We're getting there.
How many left?
4 to go. All right. Let me restart the sound.
How is that possible?
Seriously.
This is painful.
All right, go. Take it away. This kind of matters.
Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Denver to take on 9.5-point home favorite. Must win. Bo Nix and Sean Payton led Denver Broncos. This is the ultimate. Can you beat the third stringers to secure your playoff spot? I'm going to harken back to 2004, my first year watching football. I was 9 years old. Buffalo started 0-4 with Drew Bledsoe and Willis McGahee at the helm. Sure enough, they rattled off 6 straight late in the year to set up a must-win against Pittsburgh in Week 17. It was Ben Roethlisberger's rookie year. They sat Ben Roethlisberger and they sat Jerome Bettis for Tommy Maddox and Willie Parker, and the Bills lost. And I learned how painful it was to be a football fan. I don't see that happening this year. I think Denver handles their business, and Cortland Sutton has a big game. Give me Denver beating the practice squad JV Chiefs 27-18.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs actually won with their backups last year, but that was admittedly against Eastern Stick and the Chargers. So take with that for what you will. I think that the Chiefs take this 26-23. Although again, to continue to wish cast, I hope they
Can
don't.
you?
No, I can't.
I I'm mad at you. I'm mad at
I
you.
understand that. You know what? I get it.
If Joe Burrow breaks my heart again this year, you and I are not friends.
I
Just
really hate. I kind of wish he wasn't playing the Bills if he gets in, because that like I would like them to. I just like them to maybe get to the conference championship against the Bills, but obviously that can't
it's just
happen.
not gonna happen this year. Yeah,
So I
wrong
guess
sides of
I'm
the
less.
bracket.
I actually didn't realize that, and this just goes to show how much I love you. It kind of makes me less want them there.
Thanks, man. I
Um,
appreciate it.
all
I'm
right,
not really afraid of them, to be honest with you. I'm kind of being a little piss baby about it, but I think we could beat them.
I get it. I get it, but you don't want the juju out there. I
No,
suppose I understand.
absolutely.
All right.
Take it away.
Early in the season, this looked like it would on the slate. The scheduled developers. This could have been an awesome game. It could have been my Arizona Cardinals, who have proven at one point it looked like they might be a better pick than the Commanders. It no longer is that case. Um, this feels like two teams kind of at a crossroads. So the Niners, who by the way, crazy stat, since 2003, the Niners have either missed the playoff or made the conference championship every year. That's
That's
22
wild.
years of either missing or making it to the
That's wild.
just before the dance. So this kind of feels like if the Cardinals can get Marvin Harrison a little bit more consistently the ball, then they can get some pieces next year to plug some holes in defense. They could be a team next year, and the Niners feel like they're going to look completely different. In fact, there's talk of like trading Shanahan, which is crazy to me. Um,
Insane.
I think the Cardinals take this 23-20.
Marvin has to figure some things out, man. He kind of looks like he's moving through quicksand. I'm
Yeah.
not impressed. Eye test. Um, I think, I think San Francisco takes it. They looked very inspired last week. Although I think Purdy's going to be out. He definitely jacked his hand or wrist or elbow up last week, which was just tough to watch given his history. I think the Niners take care of business here because I think the Cardinals are just that bad. I'm sorry, darling. Give me SF 25-22.
Oh,
I
second
love
last
weird
game.
scores. I'm going all weird scores this week for some reason. We got Seattle and the Geno Smith-led Seahawks, who are 3-point road favorites against the LA Rams, who have their playoff ticket punched. Seattle's got a lot to play for here. Geno Smith has, I believe, $3 million in incentives to earn with good performances and
Oh wow.
different categories for whatever that's worth. Right? He might go out there and motivated and inspired. I do believe it will be Jimmy Garoppolo this week for the Rams. Probably no Puka Nacua. Probably no Kyron Williams. So you'll get a look at your boy Blake Corum. We'll see what kind of juice he's got. Should probably have a good game. Seattle, meanwhile, I think they're in a transitional period. They got to figure out what it is they're looking for out of life, specifically at the quarterback position. I am looking forward to seeing how that plays out. But for this week, it's a dud, and I'll take them to win, but I don't think it will be meaningful. 24-20.
I'll say 23-17. I still feel like McVay will cook something up.
Yep. And last
Even the
one?
backups. Last one. Last game was bringing home
RIP
with
Himburglar.
Himi, and I felt bad putting him into the speed round, but I couldn't, in good faith, take them out without him here.
Right.
So this, I mean, look, Joe Flacco may be starting here for Richardson. This sucks, man. I actually was so excited about Richardson, and now it's like I'm starting to think maybe he's not the dude. You know, he's got a 40-something% completion rate on the year, which is just crazy. The Colts came out like last week, and they were mathematically still in it at that point, I think. Or was last week or the week before, and I've never seen a team play so kind of like, I guess, just lightheartedly, and a team where they in a game
Blase.
that could matter. So yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they're going to be playing very hard here. Doug Peterson is already packed his bags. He can't wait to be cashing that check for the next 3-4 years and not working. What I will say is Mac Jones probably earned himself a backup role. I don't know if for what that's worth. He has at times been not terrible, and I would say Brian Thomas Jr. is the other spark that is nice to see in the Jags. So
Absolutely.
I think the Jags take this 24-23, and I am sorry for that Himburglar. We really do miss you on this show, but it is nice because I can talk truthfully about the Colts.
Yeah. I did always think Mac Jones would be a great backup, even when he was in the Pro Bowl. I do. Yeah, I can't even fathom stomaching watching a second of this game. But knowing my degenerate behind, I'll probably still put some bones on it. Let's take Jacksonville because of Brian Thomas. Let's take Jacksonville 30-20. What a
And that's
day.
it.
We did
We're
it.
there.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Legit Football NFL podcast. Adrian Revito, did that lightning round just take the wind out of your sails a little bit?
Well, I'm headed to the beach directly from here.
So you're sailing to the
So
beach. You're
I'm already there. Like mentally, I started there about halfway through. No, look, you know what? What I'll say is, and I do apologize to people who are fans of the team, and we don't rush through just for the sake of rushing through. It's just you're at week 18. You want to
16
talk about
games to
games.
talk about.
Yeah. And
You
we'd
know, no
rather spend the
buys.
time on, yeah, and that sucks. And the thing is, what I will say is if you're feeling slighted because you got less time here, just know you get more time in the offseason. We're less
Absolutely.
likely talking about the contenders who are picking 31 and 30. So, it all balances out in the end, and we love you regardless.
Absolutely. Adrian, anything you want to say to the good people before we wrap this sucker up and get you to the beach?
Happy New Year, my friends, and we're looking forward to a big year for legit football, including the pod. So we hope to have some big things coming this year.
Absolutely. And Adrian, as always, it's been a blast, a pleasure. Everybody watching, all you goats, Armand, Titan Maximum, Takado, love every single one of you. We can't do it without you. We do it for you guys as much as we do it for us because we love talking football with each other and with you. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Adrian Revito. I am Kevin Phillip Fox, and we are out.